Hello, everybody. Good morning. Happy Election Day in the United States. I am not going to talk about the election. Yay. So I woke up this morning and was reading my meditation and just kind of doing some prayer and getting centered. And I kept thinking about the topic of freedom. And then I drew a little card for myself from this deck that I have. And I had this lovely man in chains and an angel coming to set him free. And the card, of course, is called Freedom. And so right away, when I was reading it, just was struck by so many synchronicities with things that I have, people I've spoken with recently, people who are in my heart, and my own experience and how that is coming back to me, thankfully in a good way, in terms of how I have indeed set myself free and been freed with the help of the angels and Jesus and many others who perhaps said a prayer for me and or were holding me in their hearts from this world and the realms beyond. So I just was really struck by that. And so I right away, when I read this card, I was thinking about all of that and had the, kind of the intuitive nudge, like, you need to share this one. And I was like, no way, it's election day. I'm not going to be putting stuff out on election day. That was just like my ego coming in, right? And then I come in the kitchen and the first thing I'd see is a little quote that I have about freedom. And then I'm making my coffee and I remember, and I look over at my candle, this candle right here of Jesus, and I remember, like, hey, he was all about freedom. That's what he came to teach us, is how we are free, and also that, to set the captives free, and that there is nothing that is impossible when one chooses to enter the inner sanctuary and to find freedom there. And then, as if that wasn't enough, I bring my coffee over to the window thinking, I've got to get busy. I slept too late. I spent too long on what I was doing, all the thoughts, even after my beautiful meditation, they get me just like want to trip me up. And so I'm refocusing, recentering, which is, by the way, a constant process for me. For those of you who think it's easy, it's really, really something I have to work out constantly. So I walk over to the window, I'm drinking a little bit of coffee, and I look out, and literally my hawk, I wish I would have gotten a picture of this, was like right outside the window, right there in the shrubs that are right outside the kitchen window. And he was just like looking around, he was like just sitting right there. So, hawk is one of my totem animals, and I just really always think of freedom when I see him. Okay, so without further ado, let me read this card to you because I think there's something really important here for many of us. I'm going to share this on my main channel. I'm also going to share it on the Twin Hearts Ablaze channel where I share my poetry. And, many of my poems essentially represent me working through that process of not realizing for many years that I was free and that I was created free. So I'm going to read two things. First, I'm going to read this angel card that I drew. So the card is number 32, and the angel is one that I had not heard of. I don't think I've ever drawn this card. It's called Nisroch, I'm sorry. Let's put on the glasses. Nisroch, Nisroch, freedom. First, a quote from Richard Lovelace, To Althea from Prison is the name of the poem this comes from. Stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage. Minds innocent and quiet, take that for a hermitage. If I have freedom in my love, and in my soul am free, angels alone that soar above enjoy such liberty. That's by Richard Lovelace. So Nisroch, this angel, is known as the Great Eagle. His flight into the heavens is a symbol of freedom. On the physical level, there is freedom to travel wherever you want and be safe from harm, to be able to say what you feel and make choices for yourself. As you go deeper into your awareness, freedom becomes the ability to feel the unconditional love of the eternal. Oh, that is so true. Freedom is an inner knowing of who you are and why you are here. You feel balanced, secure, and well-loved, free from the shackles of guilt, fear, unworthiness, anger, and jealousy. In their place are love, compassion, and wisdom. You follow the call of your eternal self as you begin, finally, the work you came here to do. Death no longer has a grip on you. Instead, the thought of leaving your body behind brings an incredible rapture as a wave upon wave of love arises. Love carries you home. New glasses. Yet you are joyous to stay here and serve as long as the divine will desires. Denied feelings form blocks in the ability of your nervous system to receive and experience the ecstasy and rapture that are the result of union with the eternal. Nisroch carries the power to uncover deep feelings that you don't even know exist, the bars of your own self-made prison. This emotional baggage results in fixed opinions and judgments about how life should be and how you should behave. Case in point, the United States election, because this plays out collectively as well as individually. Illusions include self-destructive habits like smoking and overeating and other addictions that reduce your ability to feel. Ways you manipulate the flow of your energy with alcohol, drugs, sugar, and caffeine, mental patterns of negative self-talk, patterns of stress, which are behavioral in nature, denied fear and anger that subtly affect your interactions with others. Illusions are difficult to perceive at first. With some practice, you will see how they control your friends and loved ones. Finally, you will begin to recognize them at work in your own life. It takes courage, persistence, and intense desire to walk in the truth. Break free. Unwanted circumstances are often an opportunity to notice a judgment or fixed belief that is ready to go. The key to releasing these judgments is through your feelings. Be willing to retrieve those repressed memories of abuse and betrayal. They may come to you as a dream, a sudden waking memory, or a situation in your current life. Look at the world around you. How do you feel watching the news? How do your family and friends treat you? What happens to you at work? How do your belongings feel? Your home, your car, your clothes, etc. Do they feel like you? How do you treat yourself? Be willing to deeply feel the impact inside yourself. Where do you feel it in your body? If you are afraid to feel it deeply, ask for courage and strength. Once you are willing to stop denying pain and face it, God can send transforming love to heal your broken heart and body. When pain and judgment leave, you have the opportunity to fill the space with love, creativity, peace, and whatever quality you desire. When you have the courage to face the intensity of these denied feelings and break through, Nisroch, the angel, brings a feeling of elation and conquest. Carried on his wings of truth, you will find the freedom to reveal your eternal self. I found that just so resonant for me because for myself, so in my own life, this journey that I've made. Let me back up. So recently I've had 3 different connections with individuals who worked with me in 3 different ways. One on my essential day, so a day long, one on a soul gifts map, and another in, we were working on a project that she's got going on and I'm assisting her with that. So 3 very different circumstances. And this all happened last week. And in all 3 cases, the individuals spoke to me about there were 2 cases, like it was something I'd actually put on my website and then I speak about often, which is, only fly for freedom. And that is what I came to. So in my own journey, so many, many decades, I was trapped in this, sort of battle with myself. And, there were all kinds of things, most strongly for me, just, emotional traumas that hadn't been dealt with, and so they came out sideways. A lot of judgment and a lot of fear underneath, a deep sadness, and a rage that came from that deep sadness. That was just always. It was always like this is under the surface for me. I don't really have words for it. And it took me many years to, kind of intentional focus on the healing process. And yet I am so, so grateful that I persisted. And it's not like I don't have days where I slip. Like I just explained to you, the thoughts come, the thought patterns especially are really tricky for me because my mind tends to work pretty fast. And I need to really be aware and present to catch that. And yet, like once I had, gotten to a certain point in my healing journey, what began to happen was that this amazing connection to eternal love began to feel more and more full. And then I really felt like I had my wings and I could fly for freedom and only for freedom. I could make that choice in every single day. So the second thing I want to read you is from my book, Seeds for Life, which is an outline essentially of the Life Seeds core curriculum, the core passage of which came from Cultivating Essence from the Matrix of Soul, a book I released in 2012, which were just purely I always say it was kind of planted within me. It's like I had it all. It just came out, and I wrote it down finally after 10 to 12 years of saying no way, I'm not doing that. That's the thing with me. Here it is. Case in point again this morning. I'm still doing that, and someday I'm going to just trust completely and just do it. So anyway, this I'm going to read you is one of the Seeds for Life. All of these actually are, you can get this book online at Amazon. You also, if you do the 90 Days to Life program, which until the end of the year is still at that 111 year one special, it will bump up to probably 333 in January. So if you do 90 Days to Life, you have access to all of this material, plus 2 videos a day. And a few extra tools. So I'm going to read you though from the end. It's 87 out of 90, and this one is called "Unbind Yourself and Fly Free." And think about this on the individual and collective level today. Afraid to trust ourselves and this life, far more expansive than once we had imagined, we climbed back into the box. Bound by tradition, culture, and religion, we feared what we might discover in realms beyond. As we now sensed we were free to explore. We forgot we were created free and beyond the bounds of fear. Free spirit. The big idea is this. You are bound only by your reluctance to allow your heart to beat strong with the life you are. You are restricted only when you fail to realign your growth in the natural direction of the source of your very breath. Unbind yourselves from all that would confine the reign of your great spirit to a set of rules or a border someone else would draw for you. You are free to sample. You are free to choose. Yet, when you climb back into the same small box again and again because you have been told that's where you belong, or because you were born into one tradition or another and have been told you must live in a certain way, eventually you come to believe the box is the world. Or worse, you become consumed by a crippling fear that the great unknown beyond the constricting confines of that beautiful box are certainly the badlands filled with danger. You begin to believe that should you venture outside of your designated airspace, you will be shot down and fall into forgetfulness. You begin to believe that the air inside the perimeter of the box is the source of your life, your sustenance, all that keeps you alive. But a box, even an ornate treasure box, no matter how beautiful it is in the end a box. If you love one present you have opened here, if it brings you comfort and joy and becomes a special place for you to fully be you, then by all means return to it again and again. Just don't forget that the world is round, not square. It is a tiny blue dot unfolding with infinite choice and brimming with beautiful treasure boxes of every variety. Above all else, know you are created free, apart from fear. Sealed in a timeless love, unbroken by the human condition. Some have called it a love that will not let you go. Even if you have let it go and fixed yourself to a particular expression of that love, you are held safe and protected. The darkness you imagine beyond can never extinguish your bright light. So unbind yourself and fly free today because you were created free and meant to live free. So only fly for freedom. Only fly for freedom. I love you all, and I invite you to check out 90 Days to Life. And let's just all remember that we are free indeed in spirit. Much love to all of you. Have a great day.